What if I told you not crying doesn't mean you're cold? It doesn't mean you're heartless or broken. Sometimes it simply means you're wired differently. In fact, some people rarely cry, and it's not a flaw. It's a different psychological pattern. Stay with me, because once you understand why this happens, you might finally stop beating yourself up for never shedding a tear. You've probably heard versions of, real people cry. If you don't, you're repressing emotions. But that's a half-truth. Emotions and emotional expression aren't universal in how they look or feel. Here's the truth no one talks about. Crying like laughing is a behavior. It depends on biology, upbringing, culture, and even past trauma. Not everyone experiences emotional pain the same way. For some, sadness doesn't trigger tears. Grief doesn't trigger tears. Anger doesn't trigger tears. Even joy doesn't trigger tears. And that doesn't automatically mean they don't feel. That's why lumping rarely cry people into cold doesn't make sense, or broken, or distant. It just doesn't make sense. In this video, we'll break down three big reasons people rarely cry, and why that's often misunderstood as coldness. Layer 1, the biological and physiological layer, hormones, body chemistry, tear response differences. Layer 2, the psychological and emotional processing layer, personality, emotional conditioning, trauma, coping mechanisms. Layer 3, the social and cultural layer, upbringing, culture, gender norms, learned emotional expression. By the end, you'll understand why you or someone you know might rarely cry, and you'll learn a healthier perspective. Crying is optional. Emotional health is not. First, humans are not identical machines. Our bodies vary widely. Our hormones vary widely. Our neurochemistry varies widely. Some people have a higher physiological threshold for tears. The tear glands plus nervous triggers combo might not activate easily. That means even if they feel intense sadness, tears may not come. Even if they feel intense stress, tears may not come. Hormones play a role. There's evidence that certain hormones make emotional crying more likely. Others might dampen it. For example, higher testosterone levels can inhibit crying. On top of that, physical conditions can blunt tear response. Medication can blunt tear response. Even something as mundane as sleep deprivation can blunt it, or stress overload. Bottom line, not crying sometimes isn't psychological. It's biological, and that's perfectly valid. Even if your body could cry easily, how you process emotions matters a lot. There is a phenomenon called alexithymia, sometimes described as emotional blindness. People with alexithymia may feel emotions, but have difficulty identifying them, describing them, or translating them into physical expressions, like tears or words. For others, past trauma can turn crying into something to avoid. Fear can turn crying into something to avoid. Social conditioning can turn crying into something to avoid. If, as a child, you were taught that crying is weakness, your brain might learn to suppress that response. Emotional suppression is a common coping strategy. Over time, when you suppress too often, crying just stops coming, but the pain or sadness may still exist. It becomes internalized, maybe expressed differently, as anger, as numbness, as withdrawal. So yes, some people don't cry because psychologically they built protective barriers, not because they feel nothing. Beyond the body and mind, there's society. And here, the pressure to not cry can be huge. In many cultures and families, especially for men, crying is seen as weakness. People learn early, you better hold it together. That messaging shapes emotional habits deep into adulthood. Also, some people simply haven't been given safe spaces to call tears forth. If growing up meant no crying, move on, then tears may never have had a chance to be part of your emotional vocabulary. Cultural norms influence not just if we cry, but when we cry, where we cry, and how we cry. In some societies, emotional restraint is valued. People learn to express emotions privately or bury them. That affects how often you cry, if ever. Sometimes what looks like emotional coldness is actually social training. Most people expect visible tears as the standard emotional response. So someone who doesn't cry can be misjudged as emotionless, cold, uncaring, traumatized. But research shows lack of tears different from lack of feeling. Often, not crying is a sign of high internal control, suppression learned for survival, or a different emotional wiring. And that misunderstanding causes harm. People feel isolated, they feel broken, they internalize shame for their own biology or upbringing. If you rarely cry and you want to understand your emotional world better, here's a simple approach. Step 1, accept the biology. Your body might not respond like others. That's okay. Don't shame yourself. Don't shame yourself for what your tear glands don't do. Emotional well-being doesn't depend on tears. Step 2, explore other emotional expressions: journaling, art, talking, therapy, movement. Emotional release doesn't need tears. These channels may help you process whatever you feel inside. Step 3, build safe spaces and challenge old beliefs. If you were taught that crying is weakness, question that narrative. Surround yourself with people that allow vulnerability, or media that allows vulnerability. Emotional expression is normal. Emotional expression is natural. If you rarely cry, that doesn't make you cold. It doesn't make you unfeeling. It just means you feel and express differently. Maybe your tears stay hidden. Maybe they come out in other forms. Maybe you need time, safety, and self-compassion to let them show. Or maybe they'll never show. And that's okay too, because emotions aren't defined by tears. They're defined by your inner truth. So next time someone tells you, "Are you even human?" remember, humanness isn't measured in tears. It's measured in honesty with yourself and with others. If this video helped even a little, share it. Share it with someone who thinks not crying equals maybe you'll help them realize it's not coldness, it's complexity. See you soon.